On the 27th of March, 2024, law enforcement officials from various agencies across Washington state were alerted to the troubling disappearance of a child under suspicious circumstances. Family members of 4-year-old Ariel Garcia expressed their deep concerns to authorities. The last known sighting of Ariel was with his mother, Janet Garcia. On March 27th, Janet Garcia's ex-boyfriend's mother reported Ariel and his mother were missing from the Everett apartment where she had been letting them stay, according to probable cause documents filed in Snohomish County Superior Court. She told police there was blood in the unit. The living room carpet had a large blood stain. Next to it was a child-sized bloody handprint on the wall. In a sworn statement, Ariel's grandmother revealed that Janet's demeanor had become alarmingly violent and unpredictable, raising significant alarms regarding her grandchild's safety. When Everett police spoke with Ariel's grandmother, Maria Garcia, she said she and her son went to the unit to serve the guardianship papers when they saw blood in the unit. They could not find Ariel or his mother, she told police. Maria Garcia called her daughter, who told her she had put Ariel up for adoption and was in a rehab center near Vancouver, Wash, according to the court documents. An Everett officer spoke with Janet Garcia over the phone, and she said Ariel had fallen out of bed and injured his head, according to the court documents. She said she had dropped Ariel off in Portland, then said it was in Seattle, then with a friend, whose address she could not recall before hanging up on the officer. Through diligent investigative efforts, officers determined that Janet had been seen departing her residence at 7 a.m. that very morning. As they worked to trace her whereabouts, a call from an alcohol rehabilitation facility came in just 3 hours after the report of the missing child was filed. Officers from the Clark County Sheriff's Office arrived at the rehab center to confront Janet and inquire about her son's location. It was reportedly indicated that just 2 days earlier, on March 25th, Janet's mother, Maria, had sought legal guardianship of both Ariel and his 7-year-old brother. Sources revealed that Janet, Maria, and the two boys resided together in an apartment. An affidavit disclosed that Maria accused Janet of taking Ariel to a bar for drinking with friends, noting that he was inadequately dressed for the cold and lacked proper footwear. Furthermore, she alleged that Janet frequently left her sons unattended for extended periods without food. Disturbingly, it was reported that Janet had violently thrown Ariel's older brother against a wall, subjecting him to physical abuse. Maria specifically highlighted Janet's struggles with drug and alcohol addiction as a significant concern. In addition to seeking guardianship, Maria also pursued a restraining order against Janet, barring her from coming within 100 feet of Ariel and his brother. The court granted an emergency guardianship the day before this incident, on March 26th, with a court hearing scheduled for March 29th to discuss the terms of the guardianship and the restraining order. It appears that this predicament is profoundly influencing Janet's behavior. Subsequent evidence indicates that Janet did not utilize public transportation to reach her destination. Instead, surveillance footage reveals that she parked her car a short distance from the alcohol rehabilitation center, rather ironically at a bar approximately 3 hours prior to the police's inquiries. Clark County Sheriff's Office deputies located Janet Garcia, who changed her story multiple times while speaking with them, was evasive and nonspecific, and had blood on her shoes and shirt. Janet Garcia's 7-year-old son told police his mother choked and dragged him downstairs and off his bed, injuring his head. When Ariel Garcia went missing, an Amber Alert was prepared, but not issued, because there wasn't a known suspect for the public to look for. Everett police officer Chris Hawley said early Thursday, officers had been in touch with the boy's family, including his mother, during the search for the missing boy. Cell phone data showed Janet Garcia's phone near JBLM, where video footage recorded her in a gray hoodie retrieving a toddler-sized object wrapped in white from her trunk, according to the documents. Law enforcement found Ariel later, dumped over a fence line at JBLM with stab wounds in his chest, abdomen, and back. A gray hoodie was also recovered. A murder weapon had not been found. Around 3:40 p.m., security footage caught a blue 2013 Nissan Sentra over 180 miles south in Three Peaks Public House Taproom in Ridgefield, bar owner Carrie Beckwith wrote in an email to the Daily Herald. The car was believed to be associated with the missing child, though employees had no reason to know that at the time. A woman parked the car in the lot, got out alone and walked north, Beckwith said. She did not come into the bar. Police arrived to the tap room around 7 p.m., asking for access to their cameras. Officers seized the Nissan. Around 6:15 p.m., Wednesday, Clark County Sheriff's deputies received reports of an unwanted person at a home in Ridgefield, the Columbian reported Friday. When officers contacted Janet Garcia, they noticed blood on her shoes and shirt, the Clark County newspaper reported, citing a police report. Garcia told investigators her son had fallen off the bed and hit his head earlier that day. She reportedly said she tried taking him to a hospital in Everett, but the wait was too long. Janet Garcia claimed to have dropped off her son at a friend's apartment and deleted the friend's number, according to the Columbian. She reportedly gave deputies conflicting statements about what happened that day, but repeatedly said her son hit his head. For example, she told police she left her car in Seattle and took a bus from there to Ridgefield for alcohol abuse treatment. Authorities booked her into Clark County Jail at 12:03 a.m. Thursday, according to jail staff. Early Friday, the Clark County Sheriff's Office declined to give more information on the arrest, stating the case was under Everett's jurisdiction. Around 5:55 p.m. Thursday, investigators found a body along I-5 in Pierce County, following a search around the Pacific Northwest. Everett detectives confirmed the deceased was Ariel Garcia. Major crimes detectives continued investigating after the arrest Friday. The Snohomish County Medical Examiner's Office was expected to determine the cause and manner of death by next week. I am completely heartbroken for the family and friends of Ariel Garcia, and they will remain in my thoughts as they grieve this unbelievably tragic loss. Mayor Cassie Franklin said in a statement Friday, "I want to commend our Everett Police Department leadership, the many hard-working men and women that make up our team and our law enforcement partners throughout the region for all your work investigating this case. I also want to thank our media partners and the public for their help disseminating information and sharing tips. It really does make a difference." Around the same time as the body was found, the Washington State Patrol issued an endangered missing person alert for Ariel Garcia on behalf of Everett Police, setting off alarms on phones around the region. The grandmother, 60, filed for emergency guardianship for both Ariel Garcia and his older brother, 7. She wrote in court papers that the mother and kids lived in Washington until November 2019, then lived in California for a few months before moving back. Ariel, being so young, needs someone to look after him, and his mom is not able to give him the care he needs, the grandmother wrote. He becomes scared of her condition and does not want to be around her anymore. I can give him a normal life. A follow-up court hearing on the guardianship had been set for 9 a.m. Friday. The hearing was rescheduled to late April. On Friday morning, neighbors expressed surprise at the tragedy, describing a quiet street where residents kept to themselves. Shortly after parking, she emerges from her vehicle and strolls towards the rehab facility. Notably, this center is situated over 2 hours away by car from her alleged friend's residence in SeaTac. The likelihood of her taking the bus, particularly on such short notice, is exceedingly slim. The available bus schedules suggest that none would have arrived before 6:30 p.m., as the late morning departures do not permit an earlier arrival. Furthermore, the nearest bus stop is over a mile away, meaning only a brisk run would have allowed her to reach the center before the police began their questioning. In a rather relaxed manner, Janet takes a significant yawn while discussing her son's whereabouts with the authorities. She asserts that her son is 5 years old, yet reports indicate he was only 4 at the time this footage was recorded. The address she provides, which we shall keep confidential for the homeowner's privacy, is not in proximity to the SeaTac area as she claims. Rather, it is approximately a 30-minute drive from Seattle, Washington. Additionally, she seems to recall an alternate spelling of her friend's surname, which contradicts her earlier confirmation. Later, she rectifies her son's age to 4, despite her previous assertion of 5. At this juncture, it becomes evident that there are numerous critical details that Janet either failed to remember or lacked access to. Remarkably, she suddenly recalls who was watching her son, where he was left, and the location of his head injury. Now, she claims to possess her friend's phone number, despite having previously stated that she deleted both her Facebook and phone contacts. The male officer is seen escorting Janet to the station. However, despite the presence of some interrogation footage, there is a conspicuous absence of any recordings documenting their journey. Meanwhile, the female officer remains at the scene to conduct a thorough investigation. She meticulously searches the rehabilitation facility but uncovers nothing of notable importance. Additionally, she interviews various individuals present who may have had interactions with Janet. In a poignant plea to the court regarding the custody of her grandchildren, Janet's mother, Maria, appears to have heeded the advice of the rehab staff. She has formally requested both rehabilitation and psychiatric treatment for Janet, along with access to her tax refund, intending to utilize those funds to support her children. During Janet's time in psychiatric care, Maria communicated with the court, expressing her concerns if she gains access to her tax refund. "I fear she may spiral further into despair. My greatest fear is losing her to an overdose or a drug-related tragedy. She requires rehabilitation and psychiatric assistance to reclaim her former self. Her children depend on her. I sincerely hope Janet can recover sufficiently to resume her role as a mother. She needs more support than I can provide." Shortly after a discussion between the officer and a rehab staff member, law enforcement locates the vehicle Janet had parked at the bar. They proceed to break the driver's side window to secure the car. Based on the footage reviewed, they find nothing of concern, merely emptiness. While these officers are engaged in questioning individuals at the rehab center, Janet is concurrently being interrogated at the station. Investigators meticulously examine her call history, inquiring about the identities connected to each number. Reports indicate that officials issued an endangered missing persons advisory at midnight that very day, opting for this localized alert rather than an Amber Alert. Recent reports indicate that Ariel's case did not fulfill the federal criteria necessary for an Amber Alert, which mandates specific details such as a description of a potential suspect's vehicle and a precise location of the alleged abduction or disappearance. Tragically, on the evening of March 28, 2024, just before 6 p.m., authorities discovered Ariel's lifeless body along Interstate 5. This grim finding occurred at a site approximately midway between Janet's purportedly blood-stained apartment and the rehabilitation center she frequented. Notably, this location was over a 75-minute drive from her residence, leaving ambiguity regarding whether it was indeed where she had been staying prior to her departure for the rehab facility. Janet Garcia faces charges of first and second-degree murder, along with child assault, and has entered a plea of not guilty, with her bail set at a staggering $3 million. As of the time of this video's editing, Janet's case is progressing through the judicial system, with a verdict and sentencing still pending. Autopsy findings revealed that Ariel suffered up to 41 stab wounds and exhibited signs of defensive injuries. This tragic narrative is regrettably not an isolated incident within the United States, prompting ongoing critiques of custody laws in similar contexts. District 35 Representative Travis Couture has voiced his concerns regarding the leniency of current legislation, which he believes inadequately protects children from parents using substances like fentanyl, while failing to address other dangerous drugs. He asserts that had his proposed bill been enacted, Ariel's tragic fate might have been averted, stating, "We cannot allow tragedies like that of little Ariel, where he was murdered and discarded like refuse on the side of interstate." Janet Garcia, 27, from Everett, Washington, was placed in the custody by the Clark County Sheriff's Office, CCSO, for making false and misleading statements a few hours after her 4-year-old son, Ariel Garcia, was reported missing by a relative on Wednesday, March 27, 2024. Her vehicle was also impounded by CCSO on the same day. She was arraignment on Monday. Janet Garcia began crying after the plea reading and attempted to say something to the judge before her attorney stopped her. She was initially held in the Snohomish County Jail in lieu of $5 million bail. Her bail was reduced on Monday to $3 million after Garcia's public defender, Catherine Frazier, argued it was excessive. The single mother who had a history and pattern of suffering from mental illness and addiction. This was a tragic circumstance of the failure of meaningful access to addiction treatment and mental health resources. On Friday, March 29th, Garcia was arrested by Everett Police Department's Violent Crime Unit and was booked into the Snohomish County Jail on the following charges: first-degree murder, second-degree murder, assault of a child in the first degree.